Chapter 1: The Night I Was Taken. I never believed in fate. Not until the night it dragged me out of my ordinary life and threw me straight into the arms of the most dangerous man in the city. The rain was heavy that night, the kind that soaked through clothes and blurred streetlights into golden ghosts. I had just finished my late shift at the cafe, the smell of burnt coffee still clinging to my hoodie. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I ignored it. That was my first mistake. The second mistake was taking the alley shortcut. I was halfway through when the world went silent. Too silent. No traffic. No footsteps. Just my own breathing. Then, a hand clamped over my mouth. I didn't even get the chance to scream. The smell hit me first. Alpha. Strong. Cold. Commanding. My omega instincts went crazy, screaming danger, begging me to submit, to freeze. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would shatter my ribs. "Don't fight," a low voice whispered near my ear. "If you do, you'll regret it." I was dragged into a black van before I could process anything. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed me. I kicked. I struggled. Useless. A sharp sting on my neck. Everything went black. When I woke up, the first thing I noticed was silk. Soft sheets. Cold air. The smell of expensive cologne mixed with alpha pheromones so strong it made my head spin. I sat up fast. Big mistake. My wrists were cuffed to the headboard. What the? Panic surged through me as I scanned the room. It was massive. Dark wood furniture. Floor-to-ceiling windows covered by heavy curtains. A chandelier above me that probably cost more than my entire life. This wasn't a hideout. This was a mansion. The door opened, and then he walked in. Tall, broad shoulders, black suit perfectly fitted to his body. His hair was jet black, slightly messy, like he didn't care enough to fix it. His face was sharp, sculpted, terrifyingly calm. But his eyes, cold, deadly, alpha eyes. My body reacted instantly, traitorous and weak. My omega instincts curled inward, confused and scared. "You're awake," he said. His voice was deep, controlled, like every word was measured. "Who are you?" I demanded, even though my voice shook. He walked closer. Each step felt like thunder in my chest. "You don't remember me?" he asked quietly. I swallowed. "Should I?" His jaw tightened. Something dark flickered across his face. "Of course you wouldn't," he said. "You were too busy destroying my life." My heart skipped. "I've never even seen you before." He stopped right beside the bed and leaned down, his face inches from mine. "Liar." The word was sharp as a blade. "I'm Kong Jae-min," he said. "And you are the reason my brother is dead." My breath caught. "What? No. I don't even know who you're talking about." He studied my face like he was searching for cracks. "For guilt. You worked at the hospital 3 years ago," he continued coldly. "Night shift. Omega nurse assistant." My blood ran cold. I did, but my brother was brought in after a gang ambush," he said. "He died on that table." Tears burned my eyes. "I wasn't responsible. I wasn't even in the surgery room." "You signed the transfer papers," he snapped. "You delayed the blood supply." My chest hurt. I followed orders. I didn't even know who he was. Silence fell between us. His jaw clenched. His fists tightened. Then, unexpectedly, he stepped back. "Maybe," he said slowly, "you're telling the truth." Hope sparked inside me, but he crushed it instantly. "Doesn't matter." I stared at him. "What do you mean?" "You still belong to me now." My heart dropped. "I waited 3 years to find you," he continued. 3 years to make you feel the same helplessness he felt. My voice broke. "You're going to kill me?" He turned toward the window. "No." He looked back at me, eyes dark with something I couldn't read. "That would be too easy." Fear crawled up my spine. "Then what?" His gaze lingered on me, slow and intense. Not lustful, but curious. Dangerous. "You're going to stay here," he said. "As my prisoner." The word echoed in my head. "And if I refuse?" A small, cruel smile appeared on his lips. "You're an omega," he said quietly. Your body already knows it doesn't have a choice. My breath hitched. As the door closed behind him, I realized something terrifying. This man didn't just hate me. He was trying not to feel something else. And that scared me more than death ever could. Chapter 2: The Alpha's Rules. The door closed behind him with a final, heavy click. I was alone. The silence pressed against my ears, loud enough to hurt. My wrists were still cuffed, the cold metal biting into my skin. I stared at the ceiling, my heart still racing from the way he had looked at me. You're an Omega. Your body already knows it doesn't have a choice. His words echoed in my head. I hated how true they felt. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time felt strange in that room, as if the mansion itself existed outside reality. My body finally calmed enough for me to breathe properly. That's when the door opened again. This time it wasn't him. Two men entered. Both alphas. Both built like walking threats. They didn't look at me, not really. To them, I was just an object. One of them unlocked my cuffs. "Get up," he said. My legs trembled as I stood. The second alpha grabbed my arm and guided me out. Not roughly, but not gently either. Like handling something breakable but replaceable. We walked through long corridors lined with dark paintings and gold-framed mirrors. Everything smelled expensive. Power. Control. They stopped in front of a large dining room. And there he was again. Kang Jae-min sat at the head of a long table, calm as ever, dressed in black like the shadows belonged to him. He didn't look at me immediately. He was reading something on a tablet, completely unbothered by my presence. "Sit," he said without lifting his eyes. I hesitated. One of the guards nudged me forward. I sat at the opposite end of the table, my hands resting stiffly in my lap. Food was placed in front of me. Real food. Warm. Smelling incredible. My stomach betrayed me with a quiet growl. Jaemin finally looked up. "You haven't eaten since yesterday," he said. I glared at him. "You kidnapped me and now you're worried about my meals?" He studied me for a moment. Then calmly, "If you die, I lose my answers." I clenched my jaw but picked up the fork anyway. Hunger won. We ate in silence. Every time I looked up, I found his eyes on me. Not hungry, not cruel. Observing, like he was trying to understand something that didn't make sense. After a while, he spoke again. "You're not allowed to leave this mansion." I said nothing. "You'll have your own room. No locks inside, but guards outside." Still silent. "You won't be touched," he added, "unless you give me a reason." That made me look up. "What does that mean?" His gaze sharpened. "It means I'm not the monster you think I am, but I can become one if you force me to." I swallowed. "Why keep me here at all?" I asked quietly. "If you think I'm guilty, prove it. If you don't, let me go." For the first time, his expression cracked. "Just a little. Because every part of me says you're lying," he admitted. "And every other part says you're not." He stood up and walked toward me slowly. "That conflict," he said, stopping beside me, "is dangerous." I looked up at him. "For who?" His eyes met mine. "For both of us." My chest tightened. "Someone wanted my brother dead," he continued. "Someone powerful. Someone who knew the hospital system." He leaned closer. "And somehow, you were placed right in the middle of it." "I was used," I whispered. He straightened. "That's what I'm trying to find out." Silence filled the room again. Finally, he turned away. "You'll stay here until I uncover the truth," he said. "If you're innocent, you walk free. And if I'm not?" His voice went cold. "Then I'll finish what fate started." The guards returned. As they led me away, I couldn't stop thinking about his eyes. They weren't filled with hatred. They were filled with doubt, and somehow restraint. And that scared me even more, because if Kang Jae-min ever stopped holding himself back, I knew I wouldn't survive it. Chapter 3: The Alpha Who Watches in Silence. The room they gave me was too big for a prisoner. A king-sized bed. A window overlooking the city. Soft lights. Even a small bookshelf. But no matter how beautiful the cage was, it was still a cage. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my hands. They were trembling slightly, not from cold, from confusion. Kang Jae-min wasn't what I expected. He should have been cruel, violent, uncontrolled. Instead, he was restrained, and that scared me more. A soft knock came at the door. Before I could answer, it opened. A woman stepped in. Beta, late 20s, calm eyes. "I'm Hannah," she said gently. "I'll be taking care of you while you're here." I laughed bitterly. Taking care of me? Like a hostage. She hesitated, then placed a tray on the table. "Eat," she said quietly. "You'll need your strength." I looked at the food but didn't touch it. "Why are you being nice to me?" I asked. She met my gaze. "Because you don't look like a criminal." That made my throat tighten. She left without another word. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me tense. Every shadow felt like him. And then, I felt it. That heavy presence. The air changed. I sat up slowly. He was standing near the door. Kang Jae-min. I hadn't heard him enter. "Do you always sneak around like this?" I asked, my voice low. "No," he replied. "Only when I don't want to be noticed." My heart thudded painfully. "Why are you here?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes moved over the room, then back to me. "Your scent changed," he said. I frowned. "What?" "Fear," he said. Then confusion. Now, exhaustion. My cheeks burned. "You can smell that?" Yes, of course he could. "Alpha." He stepped closer, stopping a few feet away. "You haven't tried to escape," he noted. "Where would I go?" I asked quietly. "Your men are everywhere." He watched me carefully. Most Omegas would have begged by now. I laughed weakly. "I'm tired of begging." Something flickered in his eyes. He turned toward the window. "My brother used to say the same thing." "He wasn't killed in that ambush," Jaemin said, his voice hollow. "It was staged. The bullets were meant to injure him, not kill him." I froze. "The real plan," he continued, eyes burning with rage, "was the hospital. My uncle ordered the blood supply delayed. He wanted my brother to die quietly, without suspicion." My chest tightened. "And when you signed those papers," he said softly, "they finally had their scapegoat." I stiffened. "He hated feeling weak," Jaemin continued. "Even when he was dying, he told me not to kneel for anyone." His voice dropped. I knelt anyway. Silence swallowed us. "You loved him," I said softly. His jaw tightened. "He was all I had." The pain in his voice was real. Raw. I took a risk. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "For your loss." He turned sharply. "Don't." I flinched. "You don't get to say that," he snapped. "Not when you're the reason." "I didn't kill him." My voice broke. "I swear I didn't." Something in me snapped. "I was just a nurse assistant," I continued, tears spilling now. "I had no power, no authority. They told me to sign. I didn't even know whose file it was." His fists clenched. "Then why did you disappear?" he demanded. "I didn't," I cried. "They fired me, blacklisted me. No hospital would hire an Omega linked to a death." He stared at me. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said quietly, "You're telling the truth." I froze. "You know that," I whispered. He exhaled slowly. "My instincts don't react to liars like this." He turned away, conflicted. "That makes things complicated." "How?" "Because if you're innocent," his voice dropped, "then someone else is responsible." Fear crawled into my chest. "And that someone," he continued, "won't stop until they're sure all loose ends are gone." My heart skipped. "You think they'll come after me?" "Yes." The word was firm. And suddenly everything made sense. "You're not keeping me prisoner," I said slowly. "You're protecting me." His silence confirmed it. "Say it," I whispered. He looked at me, eyes dark, torn. "You're safer here than anywhere else," he finally admitted. My chest tightened. "Then why do you look at me like I'm your enemy?" He stepped closer. "Because every time I look at you," he said quietly, "I see the man I lost. And every time I don't kill you, His voice dropped to a whisper. I feel like I'm betraying him. My Omega instincts stirred painfully. Then why don't you hate me? I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he reached out, hesitated, and then gently brushed his thumb over my wrist, the place where the cuffs had been. You should hate me, I whispered. I know, he said, but his touch didn't leave. And for the first time since I was taken, I realized something terrifying. Kang Jae-min wasn't my enemy. He was fighting himself. And if he lost that fight, I didn't know whether he'd destroy me or protect me at all costs. Chapter 4: The Truth That Changed Everything. The first time I heard a gunshot in that mansion, I knew something had gone terribly wrong. It was past midnight. I had just started drifting into sleep when the sound echoed through the halls. Sharp, loud, final. My body jolted upright. Another shot, then shouting, boots running. My heart slammed against my ribs as fear wrapped around my throat. They found me. Before I could even move, the door burst open. Kang Jae-min stood there, not calm, not controlled. Blood splattered across his black shirt. Get up, he snapped. What? No time, he said, grabbing my wrist. Move. He pulled me into the hallway. The mansion was chaos. Alarms blaring, men shouting orders, gunfire echoing in the distance. What's happening? I cried. They're here, he said. Who? He didn't answer. Instead, he pushed me behind a wall and stood in front of me, shielding me with his body. A bullet hit the wall inches from my head. I screamed. Jae-min pulled out his gun and fired back without hesitation. His expression wasn't angry. It was lethal. This was the real Kang Jae-min, the Mafia alpha, the man everyone feared. Stay behind me, he ordered. I nodded, frozen. More men rushed in. Jae-min moved like death itself. Fast, precise, merciless. And all the while, he never stepped away from me. When the last man fell, silence returned. Smoke filled the air. My ears rang. My hands shook. Jae-min turned to me immediately. Are you hurt? I stared at him. Why you killed them. They came for you, he replied coldly. For me? My voice cracked. Why? He hesitated, then finally said it. Because you weren't supposed to be alive. The words hit harder than any bullet. What? He grabbed my shoulders. You were meant to die 3 years ago. My blood ran cold. The hospital incident, he continued. It was a setup, a cleanup. My legs weakened. They killed my brother and framed you to erase the trail. My heart pounded violently. Who? His jaw tightened. My uncle. The world tilted. Your uncle? He controls half the syndicate, Jae-min said bitterly. And he wanted my brother gone. Too soft. Too honest. I shook my head. But why me? Because you were easy, he said quietly. An Omega. Low rank. No protection. My chest burned. They thought if you took the blame, the truth would die with you. Tears blurred my vision. So all this time, I whispered, I was never your enemy. No, he said. You were his. Silence swallowed us. Then suddenly, Jae-min dropped to one knee in front of me. I gasped. He gripped my hands tightly. I swear on my brother's grave, he said, voice shaking. No one will touch you again. His eyes burned with something fierce. I will protect you, even if I have to burn my entire family to do it. My Omega instincts flared painfully. This wasn't fear. This was something else. Something dangerous. Something deep. You don't have to do this, I whispered. Yes, I do, he replied. Because now you're the only witness. And, I asked, and because, his grip tightened. You're under my protection. A loud explosion shook the mansion. Alarms blared again. He pulled me against his chest instinctively. And in that moment, I realized the truth. The man who kidnapped me was now willing to start a war for me. Chapter 5: The Enemy Wears Our Blood. The explosion shook the entire mansion. Glass shattered somewhere down the hall. The lights flickered once, twice, and then the emergency red glow took over. Jaemin wrapped an arm around me instinctively, pulling me close to his chest. "Stay behind me," he ordered. His heartbeat was fast, strong, alive. Mine felt like it might stop any second. Men were shouting downstairs. Footsteps thundered through the corridors. The smell of smoke mixed with blood and gunpowder. "This was planned," I whispered. "Yes," Jaemin said coldly. "And it's my fault." He grabbed my hand and dragged me through a hidden door behind one of the walls. A narrow passage opened, dimly lit and silent. "You built escape tunnels?" I asked breathlessly. "My father did," he replied. "For nights like this." As we ran, I couldn't stop my mind from spinning. "Your uncle did this. Your brother was murdered. I was framed. Everything connected. Why now?" I asked. "Why attack today?" Jaemin didn't answer immediately. Then he said, "Because you're alive." I stopped. "What?" He turned to me, eyes dark with rage and something close to fear. "They thought you were dead, forgotten. But the moment I pulled you into my territory, you became a liability again." My stomach dropped. "They're trying to erase me," I whispered. "Yes," he said, "and they'll kill anyone who stands in their way." A loud crash echoed behind us. Jaemin pulled me forward again. "Move!" We reached a secured room deep underground. Steel walls, surveillance screens, weapons lined neatly along one wall. A safe room. He locked the door and turned to me. "You stay here," he said. "No matter what you hear." I grabbed his sleeve. "No," I said. "Don't leave." He looked down at my hand. Something shifted in his expression. "You don't understand," he said quietly. "If I lose control out there—" "I don't care," I interrupted, my voice shaking. "Don't leave me alone." For a moment, the Mafia boss disappeared. He just looked human. He lifted his hand and slowly removed mine from his sleeve. "I won't die," he said. "I promise." Then he paused. "And I won't let them touch you." He turned to go. But before he could open the door, I said the words that changed everything. "Your brother wouldn't want this." He froze. I stepped closer. "He wouldn't want more blood," I whispered. "And he wouldn't want you to become like them." Jaemin's jaw clenched. "How do you know that?" he asked. "Because he saved lives," I said, "even when it cost him his own." Silence. Then something broke inside him. He turned back to me and pulled me into his arms. Not roughly, not possessively, just tightly. For a second, I felt his breath tremble against my hair. "You're dangerous," he murmured. "You make me hesitate." I swallowed. "Is that bad?" "No," he said quietly. "It's terrifying." A scream echoed somewhere in the mansion. He let go of me slowly. "Stay here," he repeated. "No matter what." Then he left. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. I sat on the floor, hugging my knees, listening to chaos above me. Then silence. Too much silence. The door suddenly opened. I gasped, then froze. It wasn't Jaemin. It was a man with silver hair and a smile too calm to be real. "Well," he said softly, "you must be the Omega." My blood ran cold. "You're his uncle," I whispered. He chuckled. "Smart boy." He stepped inside, hands in his pockets. "You caused quite the mess," he continued. "All by surviving." I backed away slowly. "You killed your own nephew," I said. He shrugged. "Weak blood. Soft heart. Jaemin isn't like you." His smile widened. "No. And that's why he'll die too." My chest tightened. "He won't," I said. The man laughed. "Oh, he will," he replied. "Because he loves you." The words hit me like a bullet. I don't." "You don't have to," he interrupted. "He does." Before I could react, he raised his gun, and a shot rang out. Blood splattered the wall. The man collapsed. I screamed. Jaemin stood in the doorway, gun smoking in his hand. His eyes were wild, dangerous, alive. He rushed to me and pulled me into his arms. "Are you hurt?" he demanded. I shook my head, crying now. He exhaled shakily and pressed his forehead against mine. "They won't touch you again," he said hoarsely. "I swear." I looked up at him. "Jaemin, you killed him." "Yes," he replied. "For you." The weight of that hit me hard. "You didn't have to." "I did," he said. "Because you're mine to protect." His voice softened. "And because I can't lose you too." My Omega instincts surged. Not fear. Not submission. Something deeper. Trust. Outside, sirens wailed. The war was over. But something else had just begun. And I knew one thing for sure now. The Mafia Alpha who kidnapped me had become the man willing to burn the world to keep me safe. Chapter 6: The Choice That Changed Everything. The sirens faded into the distance. The mansion was silent again. But this time, it wasn't the silence of fear. It was the silence after a storm. I sat on the floor, my back against the wall, trying to understand everything that had just happened. Blood still stained the marble near the door. The man who had ruined so many lives lay motionless, finally gone. And Kang Jae-min was kneeling in front of me. His hands were trembling. I had never seen him like this. Not powerful, not cold, not untouchable, just human. He cupped my face carefully, as if I might disappear if he touched me too hard. "Say something," he whispered. "Please." My throat felt tight. "You killed him," I said. "Yes." "For me." "Yes." His voice broke. "I didn't even think. He swallowed hard. "When I saw him pointing that gun at you, I lost control." Silence stretched between us. Then I asked the question that had been burning in my chest. "What happens now?" He looked away. "My world doesn't end with him," he said quietly. "There are consequences. Enemies. Blood debts." I nodded slowly. "And me?" He looked back at me. "You're free." The word hit me harder than anything else. "Free," I repeated. "Yes," he said. "You can leave. Tonight. I'll make sure you disappear. New identity. New life." My heart clenched painfully. "That's it," I whispered. He forced a smile. "That's what you deserve." I stood up slowly. "And what about you?" He didn't answer. "Kang Jae-min," I said softly. "Look at me." He hesitated, then met my eyes. "You saved me," I said. "You protected me. You believed me when no one else did." "I owed you," he replied. "No," I said. "You didn't." I took a step closer. "You chose to." His breath hitched. "You think I didn't notice?" I continued. "The way you stood in front of me every time danger came close. The way you watched over me when you thought I was asleep." He clenched his jaw. "Don't," he said quietly. "Why?" I asked. "Because it scares you?" "Yes," he admitted. "Why?" "Because if I let myself want you," he said, voice shaking, "I won't be able to let you go." The truth hung heavy between us. I reached out slowly and placed my hand over his heart. It was beating fast, wild, alive. "I don't want you to let me go," I whispered. His breath caught. "You don't understand what you're choosing," he said. "My world is dark, violent. There's no peace in it." I looked into his eyes. "I've lived in fear my whole life," I said. "At least with you, I'm not alone." His control finally snapped. He pulled me into his arms, holding me like he was afraid I'd vanish. Not possessive, not dominant, just desperate. "I'll protect you," he whispered, "even from myself." Tears slid down my face. "I know." We stayed like that for a long time. No words, just heartbeats. Epilogue: 6 months later. The city looked different from the rooftop. Quieter, cleaner, safer. Jaemin stood beside me, no longer dressed in black suits every day. His empire had changed. Cleaner operations, fewer guns, more walls torn down than built. The syndicate feared him still, but they also respected him, because he no longer ruled with rage. He ruled with purpose. "You regret staying?" he asked quietly. I shook my head. "Never." He took my hand. "I can't give you a normal life," he said. I smiled softly. "I don't want normal. He leaned down, resting his forehead against mine. You changed me, he whispered. I smiled. So did you. Below us, the city lights flickered like stars. And for the first time since the night I was taken, I didn't feel like a prisoner. I felt chosen, loved, safe. Black heart, the end, black heart.